Hello everyone. Today I'm going to be going over Amazon's Anytime feedback tool and what it tells us about leadership, communication, and workplace culture. When you look at Amazon, one of the biggest things that stands out is how focused they are on performance, and everything is tracked, measured, and evaluated, which creates a result-driven environment. That kind of structure can definitely push people to perform at a high level, but it also creates constant pressure. It's not just about doing your job, it's about always improving and providing your value. But over time, that kind of pressure can either motivate people or wear them down, depending how it is managed. Feedback is a hard part of this system. It is not just coming it's not just coming from managers, it's coming from coworkers too, which is where Anytime feedback tool comes in. I think the idea behind it is actually pretty smart. More feedback means more insight. But the problem is that not all feedback is equal. If someone doesn't fully understand your role and only sees part of your work, their feedback might not be as accurate as others. So even though the system increases communication, it doesn't always guarantee fairness. There's a big difference between being honest and being harsh. And I think that line can get blurred in an environment like this. A good leader knows how to say something in a way that actually helps someone improve instead of shutting them down. It's not just about what you say, it's how you say it. If feedback feels like an attack, people are going to get defensive. But if it feels like guidance, they are more likely to listen. That's where leadership style comes in. When leaders are approachable and supportive, people naturally are more open to their feedback. Trust really ties everything together. If you trust your manager, you're going to take their feedback seriously and probably try to improve. But if that trust isn't there, then even good feedback can seem unfair or even frustrating. It's kind of the same message can land completely different depending on who it comes from. That's why building a relationship as a leader is just as important as giving direction. This is where things can get a little complicated. The tool itself isn't necessarily a bad idea. Getting multiple perspectives can be very helpful, especially in a large company. But the anonymity changes everything. When people know their name isn't attached to it, it can make it more comfortable to speak up. But it can also make them less careful. In a competitive environment, that opens doors for people to use the system in ways that it wasn't intended, like exaggerating issues or even trying to make themselves look better compared to others. And from the receiving side, getting feedback you can't respond to can feel one-sided. Competition isn't always a bad thing. In fact, it can be really motivating. It can push people to improve and stay focused. But there's definitely a tipping point. When competition turns into people feeling like they're constantly being compared or judged, it starts to affect teamwork. Instead of helping each other people might start looking out for themselves more. So it's really about balance. Having enough competition to motivate people, but not so much that it creates tension. For me personally, I do not think I would enjoy working in an environment like this. I actually do like a little bit of competition. I think it can be motivating and even fun when it's healthy. But when it comes to cutthroat, that's where it loses me. At that point, it stops being about improving and starts feeling like you're constantly being judged or compared. I'd rather work somewhere where people are encouraged to do well, but also support each other. I think you get better results when people feel like they are part of a team instead of competing against each other all the time. When it comes to civility and respect, I think the system falls a little short. Feedback is supposed to help people grow, but when it's anonymous and sometimes harsh, it can feel more like criticism than support. And when people don't feel like they have a voice in the process, it can create frustration. A respectful environment should feel fair and open, and I think that's harder to achieve when it comes to communication that isn't fully transparent. If I were to improve the system, I would focus on making the feedback more constructive and more accountable. Even just reducing the anonymity or requiring more detailed explanations could help. Encouraging direct conversation between employees would also build stronger relationships and reduce misunderstandings. At the end of the day, feedback should help people grow, not create stress or tension. Overall, this case really shows how important balance is at the workplace. Systems like this can be powerful, but only if they are managed in a way that supports both the performance and the people. Thank you.